Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of the most shocking military incidents in recent memory: North Korea's sudden attack on America's Apache helicopters, and the dramatic ending that no one saw coming. This story has captured attention worldwide, raising questions about rising tensions, military readiness, and the balance of power in the Pacific region. So sit back, because this is going to be an intense ride through events that shocked both the Pentagon and the global community. When news first broke that North Korea had launched a surprise strike targeting a U.S. Apache helicopter unit near the demilitarized zone, many thought it was just another exercise gone wrong. But very quickly, reports started confirming that this was not an accident. It was a deliberate move, a calculated attack designed to send a message to Washington. For years, tensions on the Korean peninsula have been simmering, but few expected Pyongyang to take such a bold step against one of the most powerful attack helicopters in the American arsenal. The Boeing H-64 Apache is a fearsome machine. It's heavily armed with Hellfire missiles, 30mm chain guns, and advanced targeting systems. It's designed to dominate the battlefield, to provide close air support, and destroy armored threats with pinpoint precision. For decades, it's been the backbone of U.S. Army aviation, and yet North Korea somehow managed to strike an Apache unit, reportedly destroying at least one helicopter and damaging others. That alone made military analysts sit up and pay attention. The attack appears to have involved a combination of mobile artillery and anti-aircraft systems that North Korea had been hiding close to the border. Satellite imagery suggests these weapons had been moved into position days before the incident, under camouflage nets, waiting for the right moment. When the Apache helicopters were on a routine patrol, the North Korean batteries opened fire. Witnesses say the sky lit up with tracer fire and explosions. It was over in minutes, but the impact was enormous. For the United States, this was more than just a tactical loss. It was a direct challenge to its deterrence posture in the region. For years, the presence of American forces in South Korea has been meant to deter exactly this kind of aggression. But this attack showed that North Korea was willing to risk escalation. And this was not just a strike on equipment, it was an attack that endangered American lives. Reports indicate that several crew members were injured, though miraculously. Most survived thanks to quick, evasive action and emergency landings. Almost immediately, the U.S. military went into high alert. Bases in South Korea, Japan, and Guam were put on standby. Fighter jets scrambled into the air. Intelligence assets, including drones and reconnaissance planes, began sweeping the area to assess the damage and track any further North Korean movements. The White House held an emergency meeting with defense officials, and within hours, statements began coming out condemning Pyongyang's actions. But here's where things get even more intense. Instead of an immediate counterattack, which many expected, Washington decided to play a longer, more strategic game. Rather than launching airstrikes right away, the U.S. began a massive show of force. Carrier strike groups were moved closer to the Korean peninsula. B-52 bombers were spotted flying near the DMZ as a warning, and yet no direct retaliation was ordered in those first crucial hours. This was meant to give Pyongyang a chance to back down before things spiraled out of control. North Korea, however, doubled down. Its state media celebrated the attack as a historic blow to American imperialism. Kim Jong-un reportedly visited the artillery unit responsible and praised them personally. This defiance raised fears that another attack could be imminent. South Korea, meanwhile, put its own military on high alert and began live fire drills near the border, signaling it was ready to respond to any further aggression. As the situation escalated, world leaders began weighing in. The United Nations called for calm and urged both sides to avoid escalation. China, North Korea's main ally, urged restraint but also quietly moved troops closer to its border with North Korea, just in case the conflict spilled over. Japan activated its missile defense systems, fearing that if things got worse, it could be targeted as well. The entire region was suddenly on edge. In the days that followed, intelligence reports suggested that North Korea was preparing for another provocation. Satellite images showed increased activity at several missile sites. U.S. forces conducted joint exercises with South Korea, simulating strikes on enemy air defenses. It was a tense standoff, and many experts worried that a single mistake could trigger a full-scale war. But then, the story took a completely unexpected turn. Instead of escalating further, secret back-channel diplomacy began to take place. Reports later revealed that senior U.S. officials quietly reached out to Pyongyang through intermediaries in Sweden and Singapore. The goal was to open a line of communication and prevent the situation from spiraling into open conflict. To everyone's surprise, North Korea actually responded. What followed was a series of high-stakes negotiations behind closed doors. The U.S. demanded that North Korea stand down and move its artillery back from the border. In exchange, Washington hinted that it might scale back some upcoming military drills that Pyongyang found provocative. After several tense days, a deal was reached. North Korea agreed to halt further attacks, and the U.S. refrained from an immediate retaliatory strike. It was a fragile peace, but it averted what could have been the most serious conflict since the Korean War. Even though open war was avoided, the incident left lasting consequences. The Pentagon launched an internal review of Apache operations near the DMZ, looking for ways to improve survivability against surprise attacks. New electronic countermeasures and flight patterns were introduced to reduce vulnerability, and perhaps most importantly, the attack served as a wake-up call that North Korea was willing to take risks that many had previously dismissed as unlikely. Analysts say that this incident may have changed the U.S. strategy toward North Korea in subtle but significant ways. There's now a greater focus on rapid detection and preemption of threats near the border. Intelligence sharing between the U.S., South Korea, and Japan has been expanded, and the military presence in the region has been quietly strengthened, with additional Patriot and THAAD missile defense systems deployed. For North Korea, the attack was a propaganda victory, but it also brought them dangerously close to war. Some experts believe Kim Jong-un took the gamble to consolidate power internally, to show strength to his generals and the population. Others think it was a calculated test to see how far Washington would go before retaliating. Either way, the world saw just how quickly a single incident could ignite a potential regional conflict. The ending of this story with back-channel diplomacy and a de-escalation instead of a devastating war is what no one saw coming. Most people expected the U.S. to respond with force, perhaps even strike North Korean artillery positions within hours. But instead, cooler heads prevailed, at least this time. That outcome may have saved countless lives, but it also left lingering questions about what happens next time. Because history tells us that with North Korea, there will always be a next time. Today, military planners are taking this incident as a case study. How do you deter a nation that is unpredictable, heavily armed, and willing to take risks? How do you protect assets like the Apache, which are crucial for battlefield success, from sudden asymmetric threats? These questions are driving new innovations in tactics, training, and technology. It's a reminder that even the most advanced military systems are never invulnerable. This story is far from over. The balance of power in the Pacific is shifting, and every incident like this brings us closer to a point where a miscalculation could lead to something much bigger. For now, though, this shocking episode serves as both a warning and a lesson that strength, patience, and diplomacy must work together to keep the peace, because the alternative could be catastrophic.